You know, there's a place that flashes across our news screens almost daily, a name we all think we know, the Strait of Hormuz. But what if everything we see in the headlines is just scratching the surface? Well, today, we're going to go on a journey to discover the Hormuz you've never seen.
So, let me just ask you, when you hear Strait of Hormuz, what comes to mind? Is it just a tense spot on a map? A choke point for the world's oil? And hey, if that's what you think, that's totally understandable. It's not your fault. It's pretty much the only version of the story we're ever shown. It's like there are two stories playing out at the same time. On one side, you have the headlines, oil tankers, military standoffs, this fragile global artery. But then there's this other story, a hidden one, a world of just unbelievable natural beauty, profound human ingenuity, and a kind of resilience that's been forged over centuries. And that is the story we are diving into today. All right, so first up, let's tackle the image we all know, Hormuz as the world's most critical energy superhighway. And look, this isn't wrong, but it is so far from the whole truth. 21 million barrels of crude oil every single day. That's the amount that passes through this incredibly narrow channel. Now, to put that in perspective for you, we're talking about massive supercarriers, ships the length of 4 city blocks, squeezing through shipping lanes that are just 2 miles wide.
And just look at the scale of that. Those 21 million barrels? That's a staggering 20%, a full fifth of the entire world's oil supply. The financial stability of whole countries literally hangs on this tiny passage staying open, minute by minute. Okay, but imagine for a second you were standing on the shore, watching one of those massive tankers just glide by. You would see something else entirely, something unreal. So let's do it. Let's zoom in from that huge global scale right down to the ground itself. This is a place where mountains don't just sit there, they perform. They are literally layered with colors: iron oxide red, sulfuric yellow, brilliant white salt. The whole landscape is so geologically theatrical that it honestly looks more like the surface of Mars than some strategic choke point. And get this, the connection between the people and this wild landscape is so deep, you can actually taste it. I'm not kidding. The same iron-rich red clay that colors the entire coastline, a mineral they call galac, is mixed into a savory sauce called surak. They are literally eating the earth. So how on earth do you live in a place where summer temperatures regularly top 115 degrees Fahrenheit and fresh water is almost non-existent? Well, you innovate. You have to. You develop these amazing technologies of survival. Take the Baj gear, for example, also known as a wind tower. These incredible structures, some of them over 1,000 years old, are oriented with absolute precision to catch the prevailing breeze. They're basically a perfected, all-natural form of air conditioning. And the crazy thing is, they work astonishingly well. A Baj gear can cool the inside of a building by 15, even 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, don't call this primitive. This is a masterpiece of engineering that uses zero electricity and has no moving parts. Just brilliant design. And that ingenuity, it doesn't just stop on land. It extends right out to the sea. Take the Lenge. It's a traditional wooden boat, and it's actually recognized by UNESCO. But here's the wild part. It's built without a single blueprint, not one. I mean, imagine that, an entire ocean-going vessel, and its design only exists in the minds and memories of its builders. The knowledge here isn't held on paper. It's held in their hands. Hands that have felt the wood so many times they just know what it will do under the stress of the open sea. It's this incredible example of embodied generational knowledge. And this idea of technology shows up everywhere, even in clothing. The Baruge mask is often misunderstood. Its original function wasn't about constraint at all. It was environmental. It was a practical tool, a piece of tech, really, to protect the skin from that absolutely brutal UV exposure. And over time, it also became a kind of text, communicating a woman's marital status and where she was from. But here's the thing. All of this ancient resilience, both human and natural, is now on a collision course with the modern world. There's an incredibly fragile balance here, and it's being threatened by pressures it never, ever evolved to withstand. Let's start with the corals. The Persian Gulf is so hot that corals pretty much anywhere else on Earth would bleach and die. But here, they thrive. We're talking about surviving water temperatures of 96 degrees. They're like a living library of survival, potentially holding the keys to how reefs everywhere might persist on a warming planet. But that's the big question, right? Can this incredible, evolved resilience survive modern pressure?
because the threats these corals face now are things like oil contamination, runoff from development, and military activity, pressures for which, nature doesn't have a quick biological adjustment. And it's the exact same story for the Hara forest. These are mangrove trees that have evolved to filter the salt out of seawater, creating this lush, vital nursery that supports the Gulf's entire marine population. It's essential, invisible infrastructure. And it, too, is now at risk. And this is where the story of this seemingly remote little strait becomes a story about all of us. Because what's happening in Hormuz, it's not some isolated case. It's a preview. I mean, think about it. Extreme heat, intense scarcity of resources, living with constant instability. Sound familiar? These are the exact conditions that the rest of the world is just now beginning to confront. But in Hormuz, this has been the ordinary way of life for centuries.
See, the people here didn't wait for a crisis to learn how to endure it. They developed architectural systems to cool their homes without any power. They built food cultures that come directly from the rocks. They figured out water systems born from scarcity. And they have a knowledge of the sea so deep it never needed to be written down. So the story of Hormuz really isn't just about geopolitics or some strange, beautiful landscape. It's a living archive of endurance. And so the quiet question this place asks of all of us is whether we're paying attention.